Hello and welcome. We're actually, anyway, we're actually back. Welcome, it's the Dusty Auspex, Season 6, Episode 1. We're back from fighting for 5 years in the webway, and boy are our Guardian Spears tired. Next to me, I've got Thurston Hillman, I've got Fabio Fiorentino, I'm producer Josh. How are you guys doing? It has been a long time.
Spears, sir. I was on the Nurgle side of that.
Oh, okay.
Death Guard. Oh, I see it. Yeah, I know. I see how it is.
That's entirely fair. But yeah, how have the last 6 months been? Tell me about your hobby. Tell me about 40 Below. Hit me.
It's been a long 6 months. Hibernation has been interesting. It's been busy. A lot of, I guess 6 months. So we ended last season before Twin Eagles.
Yeah, right about Twin Eagles.
Yeah, so we had Twin Eagles. Then obviously we ran a couple bunker busters at game night, November, December. And then we did the same thing January, February, March, and here we are. So, other than that, we just kind of been really planning for the rest of the year. I mean, with Highlander coming up, that's kind of a kickoff to our season. So,
40 Below gaming season.
Yeah. So we just kind of been doing that. I don't know. Otherwise, hobby-wise, I've done a little bit on the Chaos Dwarves, a little bit on the Necrons. I almost tried picking something else up, but I ended up not. I played. I guess I got the Thousand Suns going for the
kill team. Nice.
So that's probably the furthest I deviated in 40k from the Necrons.
Yeah,
5 models.
I mean, you're doing better. You're doing better than me. I mean, it was still all Nurgle all the time.
But yeah, that's really it. Nothing crazy. I've been doing a lot of terrain.
Nice.
Yeah. Smoking up this place, hotboxing my condo. It's been
entirely legal now since the last time we broadcasted.
That's fair.
We're going to be talking about Highlander later in the show, but first, Thurston, tell me how the host of Nurgle hath grown.
Whoa. Wow. So I'm now counting what I have for my Nurgle army in the what I don't have painted, instead of this successful of, oh my gosh, I actually painted this. No, I've got very little left on the painting table, and for those of you who know me, no, this didn't happen. Seriously, I've got 13 Terminators, 3 of those little tri-lobe dudes, and then a couple characters and 2 tanks, and then that's most of what is not painted for both Death Guard and Nurgle. Like Fabio said, we took our hibernation right before Twin Eagles. I was lucky enough to participate with my partner in crime, Alex Bedard. We did really well. We took Player's Choice, I think it was, at Twin Eagles, because Alex forsook his orcs because the new Dex wasn't out, and he took my Death Guard while I took my Nurgle demons. So our team was just my Nurgle. So we ended up taking Player's Choice for that, which was pretty cool. And then Bunker Busters. Yeah, I've only managed to sneak up for 1, but I took it. I took the first AOS Bunker Buster.
That's right.
Also with Nurgle. And beyond that, yeah, it's just been a lot of hobbying. I've been in kind of a weird last 2 months-ish. I've been in the work minds of writing, but now I'm getting back to the painting table. I just finished up my stuff for Highlander, which we'll get to, but
Excellent.
Pretty excited, yeah.
And as you all know, I have sat in a tiny dark room in a fortress of solitude doing nothing but planning and plotting and watching a million screens and a million cameras. We broadcasted the Wheat City Open in February.
Oh, yes.
We tested a bunch of new features on our stream, including live updating objectives in the overlay. We now also, for 40 Below's future events, will have the ability to do instant replays. Not necessarily on the stream, but more like ref instant replays. If you're playing on the streaming table and you have a question about what just happened, we do have the ability to go back and look at the video and check. We're looking at ways to implement that and sort of structure that so that you can't just challenge. But definitely, I've just been busy behind the scenes working on stuff like that.
Nice.
Playing all of the Kill Team Friday nights at our presenting sponsor, Game Night Games of Cool Stuff, which has been fantastic. I've seen you guys out for that. That is great.
Yeah.
And setting up our Kill Team League, Echoes of Eternity, all 4 custom written missions. launched last Friday, and it was a blast. We had something like 3 games going simultaneously. Half of the people got their first league game in.
So by half we mean almost, like, what was it? I'm pretty sure it was like 12 to 14
12 to 14 players going.
So we got a lot of the games in right away, which is awesome. And there's a lot, like, they happened over the weekend as well.
Yes.
There's games being organized this week.
And if you haven't got your game in, I'll be there on Friday to get my league game in because I haven't actually was there last week, so
I won't judge you publicly.
Family stuff. Hey, it
happens. Life is always more important. But no, it's fantastic.
It's debatable, but
yeah, I know.
It's fantastic seeing everyone else out, and we're seeing a bunch of new faces too. Not always the
over
regulars.
50% of the league.
Nice.
Is
That's awesome.
new faces, which is unreal.
Yeah.
Honestly, Kill Team and what's the new Age of Sigmar?
Warcry looks
coming out
so
this summer.
So these 2 games are probably the best, in my opinion, ways to get people's foot in the door in terms of playing 40k or Age of Sigmar. Like being able to pick up a book and a book and 1 box.
Yeah,
of,
book and a
of
box.
cool
Yeah.
models. You're looking at like $100, which sure maybe sounds like a lot for a hobby to just dip your toes in it, but when you're thinking an army, what costs upwards of $300-$400, sometimes more.
Yeah.
Like $100 to get
basically
get everything you need to go. It's a pretty good deal.
It's interesting because like I've been playing so much Kill Team, and I know the model's worth that it's taken for me to get to Kill Team for my Tyranids and Tau. Maybe like I doubt it would get into the triple digits in terms of expenditure.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, over the course of the winter, I have sold my little Space Locust ass out and started picking up Custodes.
That's right.
And the cost of getting into that compared to Kill Team, because at the time they hadn't been announced for Kill Team yet, was like, whew.
And it's about the cost of, like, it's about the size of a kill team, right? Like your whole army.
Yeah, I picked up the whole army just because I love Kill Team so much. I wanted to play Kill Team in 40K. So yeah, no, it's been a tremendous winter. Thank you for sticking with us. We are super excited though because it's March Madness happening. We've got the March Kill Team League. We've got the Bunker Busters, Highlanders coming up. But first, it's also March Madness in the world of 40K, as we've seen with the new Vigilus Ablaze being released, the Shadowspear box set, and just recently announced news of a Chaos Space Marines 2.0 Codex.
Dun, dun, dun.
You guys both play Chaos. Thurston, can you give me a reaction as a dedicated nerdlite seeing how they're updating the Chaos Space Marine Codex?
I'm going to break your rule and look at the camera. It's garbage. It's garbage is what it is, because I can't use any of it, and I think that is such a misstep from GW.
His mic?
No, I know. Shameless plugs, but no rate. No, I'm gonna also like correct your rampant enthusiasm of Codex 2.0. It's really like Codex 1.5. Let's not kid ourselves here. The way that
it's more like 1.5A.
I mean, they're oh man, it's gonna be different, but not different. I think they're testing the waters with a new method of updating codexes, which is, did you buy the codex first? Sweet. We still want to release new models, but we recognize that giving you a codex every year might not be the most financially cool thing. So instead, we're going to make you buy this other book that has all the model updates. But if you were lucky enough not to play this army, to tempt you into this army, you can totally buy this book with all the updated rules. So I think from a marketing standpoint, really slick move. I mean, I was kind of lucky. I was looking a bit at the Chaos Codex to maybe ally in some non-Death Guard stuff to my Death Guard, and to do that I'd have to pick up that Dex, and I'm glad I didn't, because now I'm going to wait for the 2.0 one. But I don't know. I love the models.
They are so gorgeous.
Yeah. I love a lot about it. But I'm just from a personal standpoint of being the Nurgle player who's can't take any of this cool stuff. Or if I do, I'm going to have to paint it all different and do a different detachment. Chaffs me a bit. Just a bit. Yeah. That's my rant.
All right, Fabio, you're looking. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. Well, I think we need to look at. I guess I'm kind of riding your coattails on this, but it's in terms of still being a little sour. It's just seeing all the Imperium, really, and it's kind of what we talked briefly before the show kicked off in terms of the Imperium just being able to have all these different units at their disposal because they can
Can I interrupt and give it a great example of I think what you're trying to say?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we have Shadow Spear, where it's like all this great, beautiful new Heretic Astartes Demonkin stuff that like Asterix, your Thousand Sons are Death Guard, lol, get out. And then we have on the Imperium side a White Dwarf supplement that's like, oh man, are you Imperium? You can just like put like, what is it, 85 or 95 points? 85 points into reinforcement. You can just bring any assassin you want. Just bam, there you go. And it's like,
you get assassin,
thanks.
you get assassin,
yeah.
you get assassin.
And I'm like, great. The one thing that like Chaos had going, which was like, okay, we'll put some reinforcement points, which no one really does anyways, but we'll put some reinforcement points on the side, and we'll take some like summoning thing. Now the Imperium's like, demons, we're gonna summon assassins. Like, ah, okay.
Are you sure?
Carry on. No.
But I mean, okay, so if we look away from that aspect, I mean, the rules are one thing, but like, I'll say it once, say it probably a million times over the course of this season, but the models Jimmy are pumping out are just still phenomenal. Like,
they're gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
I call them the bad, and I don't know, is the Abaddon? What's
Abaddon.
Is it
Abaddon.
Okay.
It's Abaddon. That's the audio books to me.
Okay. So Abaddon looks amazing.
Yeah.
I hate the top knot. I honestly just loathe it.
Yeah.
You have non-top knot options. There's going to be 3 different heads included, I believe.
No.
Yeah.
I missed that little memo. Okay, all right. So that's very appealing.
I think they all have top knots, though. I think the head is inside and the top knot's on top.
You have Games Workshop custom clippers that you can use on your plastic.
She go.
Anyway.
But yeah, so like he looks amazing. The new Space Marines, which I actually only saw today, the box of 10, like they look great. They fit more with the Raptors, like in terms of their kind of like that feel they've got going. So that's really nice to see.
They're gorgeous. I mean, those new demon engines.
Demon engines are unreal. Like that new HQ, the guy that's riding
the
big
Lord Discordant. Who's right?
Jesus, that thing is something else. But I mean, I'm still someone that's always, models are always going to look good. That's going to pretty much remain a constant.
Yeah.
But if the models themselves through gameplay don't synergize well, don't like kind of cater to how I like to play, like I'm not looking for over the top tactics, but at least make me think a little bit and allow things to do things versus me just putting them down and someone can just Imperium, especially just deleting everything on your side. So
you want interesting decision trees, right? You want stuff like
I want to be able to make choices, but on the same note, I don't want to always be pigeonholed to take the same things because I know if I take other things, they just get removed quickly and like so there's a lot of stuff actually running through my head even just right now. But like I think overall, I'm kind of with you, Thurston, in terms of kind of just sitting back and waiting to see what happens.
That's fair. We got a great comment from Bizarre 40K Beast in the chat. October sucked compared to this Chaos Spring.
Oh yeah,
yes,
yeah, absolutely.
100%. You guys got robbed.
We are so sorry.
There was more other stuff during October or whatever it was.
They didn't even release those stupid the orc vehicles that were in the Speed Freaks box set until like 2 weeks ago. I saw them in like the new releases, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad orcs finally get those in like.
Maybe it was
not box set.
October 2019 they meant.
That's entirely true. Jumped into next year.
You guys assume too much.
Yeah.
Get in line with the Sisters of Battle.
That preview.
That's a deep cut.
That preview, though. That preview was so good for them today. If you saw it.
Well, that's a wonderful segue. Tell us about it.
Yeah,
because I haven't.
They had a whole bunch of like more of the. It looks like the 3D renders from the figs, but they had like different like chest plates, backpacks that they were showing off. One of the things that really caught me, which like. So my partner Jamie, she's super excited for this release. Like this is going to be the thing that can get her into 40K because she's all in on Sisters. Snap. Yeah, I know. But I was looking and they posted some of like the chest plates that they had, and there were 2 chest plates they posted, and one of them was not boob plate, and she was like, "High five!" Like,
right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you.
What do you mean? They just
like it's not the like typical like armored plate and then suddenly boobs. It's a plate of armor.
Oh, because not every woman has massive.
No. Because
also-
historically speaking, boob plate was never actually a thing.
But the best was when there's boob plate and it still had nipples showing through the boob plate.
I mean, that's Blood Angels. That's
Yes.
Blood Angels.
I mean, there's also the historical argument that, like, or not even the argument of physics, that if you create, like, big sheets of metal that are pointed right at your heart and you get hit with, like, a mace that caves that in, that's actually a lethal danger.
Ding.
However, I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a second
okay.
and throw a question at you guys and see what you think. I saw an argument online the other day in favor of at least some tasteful element of boob plate, and that is that it makes the models very, very visibly feminine.
Oh, absolutely.
Female. How many times have you guys played games with, like, female characters minis, female characters depicted on cards, but the other players will just say he, him, all the time? Having something out there that's very, very visibly feminine, hopefully tastefully done. Let's not have Joel Schumacher nipple plate happening. Thoughts? Like, what do you guys think about a treatment like that?
I mean, that's what I'm hoping for with this.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of why it was really nice to see both options presented.
Yeah.
Like, if someone wants to go that way, sweet. But even if it's not, like, all of the options, if, like, you can just have these plates, like, occasionally in there, that's cool. It doesn't have to be everything. Like, I understand the aesthetic of the game, and I understand the players who play the game too. Like, there is obviously going to be a bit of catering here, but to take some steps in that direction where we can, it doesn't all have to be boob plate. It doesn't all have to be like the chicks with chainsaws in like tattered cloth. Like,
that gives the same
Nuns with guns.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like, even Nuns with Guns at its basic level is pretty, like, okay, like, I see what you're doing with that one Sister of Battle with the two whips there, Games Workshop. I'm hoping we maybe, like, pull that back a little, but I really like the direction they're going. Like, the other stuff they showed were a lot of backpacks, like one that had, like, a chainsword on the backpack, like, sheathed to it kind of on the side.
Nice.
They showed a base, like a pillar, like a destroyed pillar that would be part of the basing for a model, like how they've been doing those decorative bases. So, like, stuff like that shows they're really caring about the aesthetic. They want them to be recognizable, but they're still evolving that line.
That makes sense.
And so you got me so far, Games Workshop. I want to spend several $100,000 on getting Jamie into this. So don't fail me.
She already has a Sisters of Battle cosplay.
I know.
Does not mess it up.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Fabio, what's your reaction?
I'm actually in the same boat as Thurston. Like, I like that there's the option to go one way or the other, because like you said, you're catering to a certain audience. Like, there's no kind of beating around that bush. So give them that option if that's what they want to do. But also you have that tasteful option, and the fact you can just intermingle, like, within the squads themselves, having a few of each. Yeah. Like, I don't see why it would hurt anybody. But also, to your point, I like the fact that it's something that distinguishes them as females, because I personally hate models that don't have helmets. So as soon as you put the helmets on them, if they have flat plate, they could arguably be man under. You don't know that. So having the boob plate at that point, for me, I'd be okay with that, because it's like, that's my distinguishing feature. Because realistically, behind a big sheet of armor, what is the difference? They're both all carrying bolters. I don't know what the size of these are compared to the Space Marines that are coming out, or the Primaris Marines for that matter. Like, I don't know where these stand in size. So there's really nothing else to distinguish them.
There's only so far that fleur-de-lis everywhere instead of eagles.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I mean, those final figs are going to be, like, just...
I really hope... I don't... Like, this is one of those ones where the rules could take a step back for me. Like, they need good models. They need something. There's an overwhelming amount of the community that either play them or want to see them done and given justice. So I think this is hopefully that time. It looks like it is, because of how slow they're doing this, and it almost seems like they're throwing things out there, maybe even getting some feedback still. We don't even know. Right. So
it's if I may, as the rules can be iterated upon very easily, as we're going to see in the next question I'm going to throw at you guys. But, like, some of the sculpts that Games Workshop produces are still being produced 20 years after they are originated. So the models need to be good. The rules can be iterated upon. Speaking of which, The big question that I have for you regarding the new CSM 2.0 Codex, regarding Vigilus, the Vigilus event and the Shadowspear box is, we kind of thought going into Vigilus Ablaze, Vigilus Defiant, that once all the codices had come out, Games Workshop would go into this event-based way of updating the rules. You'll buy into the new Vigilus campaign, and you'll get detachments now, which weren't a thing in the rules. You'll get new models that'll update each faction. But honestly, seeing straight up new Chaos Codex really threw me for a loop. How much do you guys think we're going to see events-based rules updates versus just new codices, or are they going to go hand in hand? What are your thoughts?
I think if Games Workshop is going in this sort of 8th edition is the edition we want to use and build on, and it really seems like that is the direction they are going. I don't necessarily think we're going to see a 9th edition coming out until at least next year, with what they're doing now. You wouldn't do something like this with a Chaos Codex and then announce 9th edition unless it's going to be like we saw with 5th, 6th, and 7th, where they kind of leapfrogged and used the same old codices. I really think what we are going to end up seeing is something like this Vigilus Ablaze, where you're going to have the diehards, and we were talking about this a bit before the show, but the diehards who have the Adeptus Mechanicus Codex. I'm there with you, brothers and sisters, and it's a not good codex, but if they release a new campaign book where it's Rise of Burns or whatever, and it's going to have all this new stuff in it, all these new units, and then they go, okay, you can just buy this new Rise of Burns, and that's going to cover the difference between these two books, or we're going to release, AdMech 1.5, and that's kind of why I go with, rather than Chaos 2.0, I really see this as a 1.5. It's primarily the same book. They're just adding in some new content, and this is where I'm curious on what's been posted about Vigilus Ablaze versus what's going to be in that Chaos 2.1.5 book is detachments were very much just in Vigilus Defiant. That was where we first saw them. Mm-hmm. So is that mean the detachments that are in Vigilus Ablaze going to be in this Chaos 2.0 book, or are they only going to be in Vigilus Ablaze? And technically you're still going to have to buy both books if you want everything. And I really want to see, and they haven't quite answered that to a point where I'm entirely sure what I'm getting with these books.
That's legit. That'd hit me.
Yeah, no, I agree with the book being a 1.5, but I'm still the opinion that while physical books are great, I still think there needs to be a subscription type of system implemented with
yes.
We
all want to see living rules.
But that's that's just it. The rules are as living as they can possibly be through physical codexes and releases that add things in, and White Dwarfs posting stuff. And you can buy those random one-off boxes with the blue models in them, and they have their own card with their own rules, and there's so much stuff. Just condense it all into something that everyone pays whatever, $10 a month for, because I'm a perfect example. I don't play Necrons.
Yeah.
I don't. So this whole year, 2018, I don't think there was nothing really Necron. I think.
Forge Bane. There you go.
Yeah, but okay. Yeah. There's nothing.
There was nothing.
Okay, so 2018, I didn't spend a dime on books, but if I was getting constant updates on everything else, I would have spent $120. Last year on books, and I would have never looked at any of them. I may have skipped through them a few times, maybe went into Battlescribe with it and built some lists. Mind you, still waiting on the Azir version for 40K that was promised umpteen years ago.
We're begging you, Games
Workshop. That's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah,
but
it uses power level. You're fine.
That's the response I get from GWs on the fence. But it has power level. I'm come on. Yeah. That's not. That's not what I want. But so that's my biggest thing. Do I care that rules are coming out in different ways TW's just getting creative and kind of clever with it, and I respect that. They're a company that thrives on sales at the end of the day. So, bringing out models and finding unique ways to bring out models and release new rules without having to always pump out a brand new spanking codex every time. Sure, that makes sense. I guess I'm okay with it. But for the players that have been around the block, how many years? I think that extra step needs to be added. I don't think it costs anybody anything. Yeah. Right, and I think all I can see is them profiting from it.
I will say, like, taking a step back from for the love of God, give us an online living resource, please. Assuming we're in a universe where that never happens, I think what they're doing with this is still a good move from the perspective of new people coming into the hobby.
Absolutely,
because if you have a new player who's someone like we've been seeing it all over the local groups, people are like, wow, that new chaos stuff looks pretty mighty tasty. Those people now don't have to buy the old chaos codex, go buy Vigilus Ablaze. They can now go, oh, I just buy the updated chaos codex, the end, in theory. Whereas someone who, and again, this goes back to what's going to be in Vigilus Ablaze versus what's going to be in this book. Like, if the detachments are separate, you might still have that competitive player who, like, oh, there is a single detachment in here that I need because that's the new meta thing. That competitive player then is going to buy, Vigilus Ablaze, and they probably already have the old Chaos book, so they're going to be golden. But also, that Chaos player is also probably going to be going, I'm a tournament player. I'm going to buy the new Chaos book too. And have two copies of it effectively.
So you get to double dip on them.
And they do get to double dip because it's easy. And I know for a fact if tomorrow they came out with a Death Guard thing that was oh man, Vigilus 3 and it's all Death Guard.
Except for the coasters because you missed the boat.
I did miss the boat. That's why it's in front of me. But it's if there was a Death Guard Vigilus Ablaze thing, and I went and I bought that, and then they're like, oh yeah, all these 8 new units are going to be in a revised Death Guard. I'm like, I'll buy the revised Death Guard.
Yeah.
It's
that's fair. We got a couple of good comments in the chat. I'm going to throw them in.
Yeah.
Twilight Knight in the chat is quite taken with you. I am told you are sexy.
I am pretty dreamy.
They also assert that if the sisters models are even remotely nice, they won't be able to keep them in stock, which I think is fairly accurate.
That happened with Tau when they did that big Tau push in 6th edition, I think, when they released the fighters and the Riptide for the first time. You couldn't get that stuff for months.
Yeah. And Homer is in the chat. Hey Homer, how you doing?
Hey, Homer.
He says Warhammer Ed Times was just a huge cash grab in terms of how Games Workshop would treat events. Release new bugs 6 months later, they're discontinued.
Yep.
Are we worried about a Warhammer End Time situation with this or no?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah,
I hope not. I think if that was something they thought was a good idea and saw how much backlash there was, I hope they don't repeat that.
I think we've already gone through the end times with 40K, which was really the trilogy, the Fall of Cadia, the Ynnari, and the
Gathering Storm.
The Gathering
books, right?
Storm books. Thank you. That was the name. We already saw that, and they backed away because as a fantasy player who went through the end time stuff. They sure went full hog on here's this crazy army, this absolutely ridiculous dark elves and high elves living together in the same army, go buy everything. And then when Age of Sigmar came out, all of that was useless, all the heroes were useless, and they got so burned on what they did with that Stark Age of Sigmar turn. And look at how long it took them to recover their Age of Sigmar community, from their fantasy community. That they learned with the Gathering Storm. The Gathering Storm was, here's some new stuff. Here's some new stuff. Okay, Primaris Marines, they're new, cool. They did not retract anything. I think we're slowly seeing stuff dive off, and we're going to see that I think more consistently going forward. I think the indexes are the last hurrah for a lot of units that existed. I know Orcs kind of got hammered with that a bit, and there's a couple other factions with weapon options. I think that's going to be kind of the slow paging back of stuff that we're just not going to have access to. I know people who played Death Guard before the new Death Guard Codex came out. They sure could take Obliterators and Havocs and all. Nope, can't do that anymore. So
It's very interesting that you can't take
obliterators with Death Guard.
Yeah. I'm on my Death Guard high horse today, but we can get off it, I swear.
I mean, hey man, I was there with you with the Death Guard for a while, and those obliterators were like auto includes because they were the toolkit. Right now, not anymore.
But yeah,
they get new models that look amazing, and then like half the chaos can't even access them. So why?
And I think I don't think we're seeing end times. I just think we're seeing them grab the brand.
I would be very frustrated if anything remotely close to the end times occurred in 40K.
Yeah,
I think the Gathering Storm was their like last minute course correction, not going as drastic as they could have.
That makes sense. All right, we are at the halfway mark in the show, so I'm going to take this moment to reset a little bit. Thank you for joining us. We're going to thank our presenting sponsor for the year, Game Night Games and Cool Stuff. We're there every Friday playing Kill Team and a bunch of other stuff. We're there once a month doing Bunker Busters for 40K AOS. We're looking at changing it up. Post Planes of War teaser. Stay tuned to all of our media, literally all of it. Smoke signals. We're going to figure out smoke signals sometime soon.
Carrier pigeons, you name it.
Yeah.
We're all over that.
The Kill Team League is taking place at Game Night Games and Cool Stuff. You can earn raffle entries for the gift certificate to Game Night equal to half of the total entry fees for the league by playing games there. How have you guys found Game Night so far?
I love it.
Oh, yeah. Such a good gaming space.
It's arguably as central as you can get in the city. They've got good parking. They've got a well-lit, nice open gaming area.
Concessions on site that are not just like cans of Cokes in a fridge. Like they've got a variety of stuff, which is nice.
They've got Mama Joe's.
Yeah, Mama Joe's.
There's a Mama Joe's plug. If anybody hasn't gone to our Facebook page and see me post about
ribs,
and everything else I buy there.
That we had Friday was just like
that was literally I had the meat sweats hard. Yeah. But I mean, follow the Game Night page. Ben is always at Mama Joe's, and they got pasta, they got great salads, they got fresh ribs, like lasagna, like, you name it. It's good food. Anyway,
okay.
Check it out for yourselves. I'm not going to keep going on that one, but no, honestly, it's a great space. Like I said, parking's a good, really important. Great hours, like 10 o'clock on weekdays. I think Sunday's the only day they close earlier than 10, maybe?
Yeah.
But otherwise, like Friday, Saturday, open till midnight. I mean, put those kids to bed and come out, you're still going to have time for a game.
Yeah. I mean...
Like, I don't have kids. You guys don't have kids, not that we're aware of anyway, but, I mean...
Shout out to our friend Michael, whose son was just born this past Friday.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
You better be out Friday.
And also,
no respite.
Fridays. So a few of the guys have been going to Smitty's after gaming on Friday. So Smitty's at Grant and Pembina.
Yeah.
So I know we don't do a lot of kind of community stuff like that outside of actual just participating in events and gaming, going down to games. So big kind of. Call it, I don't know, challenge yourselves or what?
Stay out till midnight playing Kill Team and then come for wings and wings and drinks after.
The shit. We're pretty much talking about all the nerd shit anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But at least, everyone's in a more social environment versus just sitting at a table with a one-on-one or.
Do you want this but with food?
Yeah, exactly. That's true. It's true.
Exactly. So Josh, Mike, Thurston have done it a lot. I was able to go out once, and I thought it was great. So. If you want to pick a night to try and ask the wife for permission to go out and play some games and then go for a bite with your buds.
Friday night's a good night.
Friday nights.
Yeah, and again, open till midnight is such a big deal because you can just get in so many games and there's no rush to get there. Like I find myself getting there at like 6:30, which in like normal game store times would mean like, oh god, I've got like to finish my game right away, and you get there and like most people aren't even there. You're like they're starting to saunter in. Like it's really laid back, which I like.
Yeah. All right, moving ahead. Yeah. There can be only one. Saturday, March 29th, we've got our Highlander event happening at. Please help me, I've forgotten.
It's at the Legion on Osborne.
Thank you. That's where it was last year, right?
Same place last year. We got the bigger room this year. We got the, I guess it's the wedding hall room, not the bingo room.
Oh, okay.
So it's a big cube or a big, like, I guess more like a rectangle.
You turn right instead of left, right?
Yeah.
That's okay. There you go. That's
to the middle side top wise.
There you go.
And so just a bigger space. So we're able to have more tables, but also still have a nice amount of space around the tables. So
good.
Big thing people love is being able to maneuver 360 around their table.
Yes.
So we continually try and do that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there is the balance between price point, getting the right numbers to facilitate that price point and, make everything work. But we were able to do that, thankfully. We got a bigger space. It's a little clearer. Unfortunately, I believe the PA system is all still routed on the same.
We will hear about meat draws in the middle of jibbing meat on the table.
That's fine.
Bingo. No, I'm just kidding. No, but actually, the other hall might be open.
Okay.
As far as I know, it's still open, so we might be able to still use the PA system. No big deal. Nice. But yeah, just it's a nice, again, well lit, nice big space. It's all licensed, so we can go down and grab drinks. They actually asked me this year if we needed to allow them. They needed a bartender earlier than 10 a.m. I was like, no, I think we can stick with the 10 a.m. I think we're okay with that.
Sir.
Three turns of his first game before the bar opens.
Sir.
Actually, no, I think our first game
starts at 10.
So.
It's like last
before
year.
10 a.m. and just have him follow Thurston.
I mean,
just trail him around.
I mean,
he'll be having his mimosas as warm up.
I will.
No, it's good. It'll be good. We've kind of revamped the scoring matrix and how things are scored. We not really because it needed it. We like the way it's going overall. Mm-hmm. But what we did it so most scores are entered at the end of each round and they're submitted at the end of each round. There's no going back with those little cards and saying, hey, you got to remember who you played and all that.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. Like, we liked it because we were able to kind of see who was handing in what and whatever. But we also found that there were still people giving awards or naming people or naming armies that they didn't play against, and we're like, well, this now defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
And it kind of breaks the system. This way, everybody's getting scored on 1 to 5s, and again, we take averages. We have actually, and it's nothing's hidden. All our sheets are on the events, under the events on the website. So like, if you want to see how everything's broken down in terms of scoring for any award, it's all up there. That's another thing we've really wanted to do this year is just keep it transparent. Like, there's nothing to hide. Like, we're not trying to, game anybody or game the system. It's just
hidden comp for all.
Hidden comp for everybody. No, just keep it simple. Well, actually, we actually haven't kept it simple on our end. But as far as you guys see it, it's it's 1 to 5s. It's simple. It's quick. It's easy. It's Is
1 good or is 5 good?
5 is good.
Okay, so it won't be like that one time I ran a Mechanicon and we had to go up to a player after the 3rd round being like, why are you like giving your opponent runs on all their sportsmanship? Well, that's the number at the top. That's good, right? No, that's not.
We're not playing everything else, the higher numbers are better.
All right,
it's gonna be good. I'm excited.
I'm gonna hit you guys with questions about how your Highlander prep is going. But since Thurston has answered first for the last 4 questions, how's your Highlander prep going?
My prep.
We're gonna get to the game in a second, but I want to hear about like your terrain, like
my
behind
prep
the scenes.
Hit
me from a TO perspective.
No, for sure. My prep has been interesting. We've got this year we're not doing dice.
Okay.
We're doing tokens. So we're finding objective markers are something that people always forget. Or like, oh, I don't have enough objective markers or whatever. And it's not just for 40K. Age of Sigmar needs them, which we also run stuff for. We have Kill Team, which need objectives for at times, if not always.
The vast majority of the time.
Sure. So, and I don't know what the war cry is going to be like, but I assume it's going to follow something similar. So objective markers are always something good, something people need. So what we're doing this year for every event, there's a unique one for that event. And then we're also going to have a set of 6 with numbers on them, 1 to 6, that are just universal 40 below game with this logo on them kind of thing. So those will be available later. But so with everyone's entry, they get, of all our events this year, it included a sheet of raffle tickets and that unique token in that unique color for that event. So
no Destiny dice.
No Destiny dice. Okay. No, we moved away from Destiny dice for now. We're gonna give it a go for this year.
See what
get
goes.
feedback.
Yeah,
See what happens. If people want the dice back, we'll get the dice. The only difference is the dice need to be ordered minimum 6 months in advance, which is crazy because like, so again, everything's out in the open. Like it's a cash flow thing, right? Like having to put up a big chunk of money before your season, like I referred to before, starts. It's like, well, that just kind of cuts down on what else you can do. So like the dice, you have to buy in bulk, so it's usually, it's like $120 to $150, whatever, plus shipping. And it's just like, okay, that's $150 that I can't start
terrain
doing other stuff with, whatever it may be, because every year we have a list of things we budget, and that's how it goes. So, but whatever, it's fine. So there's tokens we've been working on, terrain we've been working on. The wait list for Highlander has been insane. We're at 36 or 38 players now, and we still have like 6 or 8 more people on the wait list. And honestly, I would love to just always be able to allow everybody, but it gets to a point where it's like we're just not feasible. Like we just can't do it.
There's only so many tables we can
so many
put
tables,
in there,
only so much room,
and not fall foul of the fire marshal's code or what have you.
So, but I mean, Plains of War is in June, so if you missed out on this one, those tickets are available.
They've been on sale since February 20th on our website, 40belowgaming.com. You said we were doing a giveaway.
Yes. So, 2 giveaways.
My God.
So we're not giving
people in the chat even.
There's no giveaway right this minute, but if you want to go to POW, there's 2 discount coupons floating around right now up until the end of. I don't think. Now I'm kind of remember when I said it's online. I can't remember if it's at the end of this month or if it's at the end of next month.
Stay tuned to 40belowgaming.com on Facebook for more information.
I have to repost it. It's pinned to the top. It's the first thing if you go to the Facebook page. But all you got to do is, for one of them, it's a Facebook giveaway. So anybody that has given us a review on our Facebook page is automatically entered for that random draw. That's all you got to do. And then the second one is follow us on Twitch. So everyone that's a follower Twitch.
Right here.
So literally, it should be like top left on the screen. If you hit that follow button, you're automatically entered. And I can't remember if it's 25 or 50% off, but PAL's an expensive one. It's a 2-day, 6 games. It's a marathon.
We're gunning for our first major.
Going for our first major this year. So getting some money off for anybody that's interested. I mean, there's been a bunch that have been floating around already. And so there will be more. Like these 2 are just the next 2, and we'll come up with some other ways, whether it be like people that take pictures of their models and submit them, or over the next we'll make a window. There's stuff we'll do, but whatever. But anyway, those are the 2 that are on now. So review on Facebook and follow on Twitch.
Excellent.
That's all you got to do.
Now, Thurston,
anyway,
I hear you have been doing an incredible Kermit impression.
Ribbit.
Fuck those things.
Tell me what you really think, sir.
We're all about honesty here on the Dustin
Yes.
Not to make you spill your secrets, but tell us about the list and how it's been doing.
Oh, yeah. So
yes, tell us, Thurston.
Oh, yeah. So for Highlander, okay, one sec. I'm going back on the soapbox here. It's been about 10 minutes.
You should actually buy one of those.
You should just so I can sit on it or have it just here. Okay, I'm going on my soapbox for a bit because those people at Highlander, as Fabio was saying, the beautiful changes that they made. One of the changes that they made this year was rather than like one of every unit, instead there can only be one codex, which I'm gonna say a few things. One, some armies, Tau and Orcs, I'm looking at you. You don't get to cry this event at all. But
better show up.
Yeah, exactly. For someone like me, who had this lovely Death Guard on one side, Nurgle Demons on the other. Ooh, they look so pretty and work so well together. Can't do that this time. Apparently, there were some complaints about the guy who won last year, who did it with a whole bunch of the same troop choice. I know. So instead, I had to look at a mono list.
On our trophy.
Hey. At least they got that guy's name right on the trophy eventually. But But so I had to look at like a mono list, and it was sort of Death Guard and Nurgle Demons, and whilst I've been painting a bunch of Death Guard, part of the problem I've always found with Death Guard is their troops are either garbage or expensive. They come in two varieties. They come in Poxwalkers that are gone and useless, rest in peace since the first FAQ, and then Plague Marines, which they keep knocking down points, but then I keep going 3+ armor save, they sure still get shot off the table. Yay. Yeah. And for a lot of points. So I decided I'd go with demons, but I needed to, come up with some gimmick. And really it wasn't so much gimmick as, man, I need to paint something, and I have these excellent Forge World Plague Toads with Plague Bear Riders on them.
And I fly. That fly.
Ladies and gentlemen, they fly.
They don't catch flies, they themselves just...
Well, they have a cloud of flies around them. We'll get to this. So there are 9 of these bad boys in the army, which is really over a third of my army is caught up in this one unit of 9 plague toads. And what they are is a brick of immovable, invulnerable save, minus to hit, disgustingly resilient wounds that hop across the table towards you. And so
that come back on ones.
They also have a banner. There's a lot of things going on, and I made a list around them and trying to take some stuff that I hadn't actually taken to a tournament before. Like Great Unclean Ones are pretty garbage in the current meta because everything shoots them and they die in the first turn. My play experiences have basically shown me that is true, but I have a gorgeous Great Unclean one I put together and painted, so I wanted to show that off. And so I did that and a couple other things. I still managed to sneak 60 Plague Bearers into the list, so it's all good.
Josh Baran in the chat is showing some appreciation for your Plague Toads. Twilight Knight is volunteering your house for people to crash at from POW. People are enjoying the toads.
Hashtag Ribbit. So I've got 2 games in with it so far in prep to try out some of the missions. So we did Mission 1 and Mission 2. I did Mission 1 against our other host who's not here tonight, Kyle P. And then I got my second game against Fabio. Both games did okay. So
Fabio, are you all right?
I mean, I'm fine. The Necrons are a little shaken, but no, it was good. It was tough. Like the Great Unclean one, I was able to pop him get rid of first turn, but that I had to literally sell the farm to do that. And it was one of those decisions where I was like, if it doesn't happen, then everything's going to keep coming back, because like I had mentioned earlier, on rolling ones on what was it? Morale?
So it's they've got an icon which is on a morale roll of 1. One of them comes back at full wounds, but I've got a sloppity bilepiper, so I'm rolling 2 dice and picking the lowest because I don't like just 1 dice. The Great Unclean one has a bell, and if you're within 7 inches of him on a 4 up, one of them comes back.
So you can bring back effectively 2 a turn.
3 with the stratagem. Carry on.
Necrons aren't used to this at all.
Yeah, Necrons is lovely. This is a great I mean, I like my reanimation.
You get saves on saves on saves, and then you get that. So anyway, no, it's fun. Thank you, by the way. I already assumed that I wasn't getting that back. And they fly. But so I got rid of him, but I sold the farm to do it. I lost a lot of my punch right away, and I mean, obviously the mission, which was nice that this happened in a test game, the mission requires you to draw 6 cards, and then every turn after
I was going to bring this up.
You draw 5, draw 4, draw 3.
Well, you don't draw. Your max is...
You're capped at basically the amount.
So after the first turn, you'd have to score 2 objectives if you want to draw a new one.
Just to draw 1 new card in the next round.
Yeah.
So I drew 6 cards the first turn. I was able to achieve none, and it wasn't achieve in the sense that I would be it was going to be close and I could do it. There was just calculated. There was just no way to achieve any of them, but they were all achievable, and therefore I couldn't remove any. The also thing we missed was that I could spend 2 command points to redraw, to discard and draw again. But being Necrons and the way that Necrons are, and in my opinion, the best way to run Necrons right now is running the Vanguard, the Outrider, and the Spearhead attachments, which only give you 1 extra CP on top of your 3 Battle Forge. Yeah. So I only started with 5. I spent 1 automatically to take a second artifact. So I only had 4. So spending 2 on a CP was hella dangerous, especially when I had to sell a farm on my first turn.
Yeah, because you blew like 3 CP in that first turn to get
Yeah, I
everything.
used my Doom Scythes so like.
And you don't have the same ability to regenerate command points like
I
in the
could
factions,
take
right?
that, but again, taking that basically again just knocks off a whole other group of things I can do with my warlord. So it's not worth
and it's
it.
diminishing returns when you've only got like 4 or 5 CP. Like when you've got 13,
Yeah.
a regen ability
But
is
richer,
amazing,
richer.
but yeah.
But
So you're sitting there with a paucity of CP, looking at spending some of them to get rid of these like objectives in limbo.
and then after turn 3, in order to spend anything on using CP, everything doubled in price.
Yeah.
So like,
essentially,
I had to burn all my CP at the start because otherwise they'd be wasted because I couldn't afford anything because anything cost 1 cost 2. I only had 4 to start.
Yeah, I think we blew. I think I had like, because I start with 8 and I don't use many CP, and I had 4 into the like turn 3 onwards, and I blew them on like 2 rerolls because I need
a
these.
reroll costs 2.
Yeah.
To auto pass morale, you need 4.
Yeah.
That's pretty intense. But anyway, so the game was good. Honestly, the list, when you look at it, it's nothing crazy. That's what's really cool about it. It's just the fact that nothing dies, and as your stuff dies, you have less fire returning, and it just overwhelms you and just kind of consumes the board. It was really neat. I mean, that in conjunction with the fact that I couldn't play the second part of the mission because of what I had drawn, made it kind of interesting. But the nice thing about playtesting games and then being able to relay info back is we obviously don't want that to happen in a game. And while it's such a slim chance of happening, it still can happen. And when you want more beer and pretzels type events with more like just a laid back approach and more randomness with the cards, to have the possibility of that happening,
it's not fun. It's not fun.
It doesn't matter how you go into a tournament. Doesn't matter you go into an event. If that's what happens to you, that is no fun, because basically, well, I can't win the secondary, so I need to win the primary to tie there, just to tie. And then I'm hoping on tertiaries I squeak it out because it's Linebreaker, First Blood, and Slay the Warlord. So it's basically like if that First Blood, back to the First Blood just being the backbreaker.
Yeah, and I mean you got lucky because First Blood is really tough against my list.
So go ahead.
No, I'm just actually very surprised that you used the Great Unclean One as your warlord instead of just one of the little guys that basically could hide.
I want the 4+ armor save on him. It's a warlord trait.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just a 5+ invul, and I'd rather have 4+ save on him.
But but you bump him to the 4+ invul anyway.
No, I'd see. I can, and it's sort of iffy if I want to do that. Yeah, depends. And again, like your army's really unique in that I blew that strat early because the 2 armies I fought have an inordinate amount of shooting. Like your Necrons came in with me with how many destroyers was it?
So a squad of 5 destroyers. It was 2 Doomsayers. It was 3 Doom Scythes.
And like everything went in, and that was a lot of high power, like high damage shooting.
And you shrugged most of it.
And you killed the Great Unclean One, which was like really the first turn against Kyle's Eldar, like which is a plethora of, or at the time was a plethora of flyers and like a whole bunch of venoms. He put everything in my face and just shot, and he did not manage to kill the Great Unclean One until turn 2. So I'm looking at like what I anticipate other lists will bring. I don't expect most of the lists I'll play will have that kind of firepower, which means that like I get to live, but that close range firepower can be a bit like bolters and stuff can also be a bit of a
right. So having that 4, okay.
We got a great question from Josh Moran in the chat. I haven't read up on this. I'm hoping you guys have. Sure. What are your opinions on the new way of generating command points that the Shadow Spear Psychers have? I have not read up on this, so
I have not.
Hit me.
Can you ask him for details?
Yeah, Josh, if you can give us details, that'd be great.
Right.
Give me a link.
I'm trying to think of how they generate differently.
They generate command points differently?
That's the question.
I've not actually read the Shadow Spear box rules yet.
Sir, what did we pay you?
I read up to the point where it said Death Guard can't take them, and I was like...
I looked at the box, I didn't see a Necron. I didn't even get past that. But.
if you can hit us up with some information,
please.
We'll answer the question. Then I'm a diehard Tyranid player who just flexed to Adeptus Custodes. I'm still learning about models with armor that they didn't grow, so we'll figure it out sometime soon.
Better shooting balls.
But no, for Highlander, I'm super excited. As far as like my army progress goes, I mean, I had a last weekend just before my game against 2 weekends ago. I had this massive painting blitz and finished the Toad unit, so they're all done. So what I'm doing now is something I've kind of promised myself that I was going to do with the army, and now that all the models are painted, I can finally do. I posted it in our like local Winnipeg 40K Facebook chat, but I took all of these sprues that I own and clipped off all of the plague bearers. And it was a mound, like about like the size of this, and about like yay tall of Nurglings. And now I'm going to spray prime up all the Nurglings, paint them, and I'm going to start putting them on all the bases.
Oh yeah.
And then put some realistic water on some we bases that I have, hopefully before the event.
Harrison's got he's got custom based on all his models, so just kind of where he's going with this.
Banned in Texas.
So so I was looking at them and I was like, oh, why don't you have any water effects? Because there are all these like half pipes that basically you could have some water or gunk or something running through.
Yeah.
And he's like, because this is why. Nurglings paint them up, drop them in, and then put the water effects around. It kind of looks like they're coming out through, which I thought was amazing. That's like talk about going above and beyond for modeling. But I honestly, stuff like that is so cool because it's one thing to look at, it's like, oh, it's cool. But when you're able to get closer to a single model and then you start picking out details like that. Yep. That's the next level stuff. That's really cool to see.
Yeah, that was kind of one of those things when I saw the bases. The shameless plug, they're from Dragonforge Designs. If you look Dragonforge bases on Google, you'll see them. Jamie, actually, my partner, she picked out the bases when I was doing the army, and they're cobblestone. But like Fabio said, they kind of have, and it's more visible in the larger bases, like the Great Unclean one. They have like sections of the base that are lowered into the resin and just sort of like flat, nothing in it, where it's meant to put liquid into. Like you're supposed to have like water and cobblestone, and so I want to do some kind of like toxic sludge or something like that.
I'm into it. Yeah. I approve.
So here's that's my Highlander prep. So the army is done. At this point, it's like, wow, this is the first time for an event in like recent memory that the army's painted not the night before the event, and I can spend some time doing some of the build-up stuff, which is cool.
That's fair. All right, we're at the second half hour mark, so Babby, I'm going to get you to tell me about another one of our sponsors, the newest one. We've got a commission painter out of Alberta, I believe it is?
Yes. So we've got 7 Forge Studios. So for those who were at Plains of War last year, he came out and stole the painting award with his
Night Lords.
Night Lords, thank you. Wow, that one I was like, Night Haunts? Like, no, that is but yeah, so the Night Lords, Matt Posey. So he's kind of come on with us. Last 2 weeks ago now, I was on their podcast. We did a show. It was great. Just kind of shot the shit. There's a lot of guys out there that guess kind of like the way we're doing things, as it's something that they kind of do out there in terms of the overall, the generalship, the painting, getting the hobby scores and stuff like that, because they agree too that it's part of the it's part of the
game.
Hobby. It's part of the game. So we talked a lot about that. We just we joked around about like they loved the 360 around the table and stuff, and not bumping butts. And I was like, listen, you don't know how to appreciate the 360 unless you've bumped a butt once or twice.
No, I'm confused. Explain this to me. What's the 360 you're talking about?
If this is our game table, you and your opponent are able to move around the entire table without having to walk past a second table or run to the end of an aisle or ask somebody if they can move your models, because
as opposed to have them all in rows.
And that's very common at tournaments, the rows.
It is very common, and honestly I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down the road that ours will be get like that, but not I never want it to be that bad. Like I'm thinking, like if it's 2 tables touching each other and you lose one side, that's manageable, but like it's hard to find large space that at a price that you can subsidize without being ridiculous. But anyway, so 7 Forge Studios, he does great work. He's on Facebook. They have like I said, they have the podcast that happens every week. It's called Favorite of Chaos.
I like it.
Yeah, no, he's a big Chaos guy. Like, his stuff is great. His prices are great. Always try and plug local, but he's come out. He's a great guy. He's local to Canada. He's local to Canada.
Support is there. Hey,
his services are great, and so I don't know. I actually am. If I ever start another army, I will be sending some stuff his way. So that is my personal goal. If I can just find another army that I care enough about. But yeah, so Seven Forge Studios, check them out. Like the page, give them a shout out if you can. Use his services if you can. They got some great swag too for the Favorite of Chaos. So check that stuff out. Anyway, yeah. So that's them.
Josh Moran has gotten back to us in the chat. Yes. The Primaris Psychers have a spell, Warp Charge 5, target a unit within 18 inches. Yeah. They suffer a mortal wound, and if the target was a character, roll 3d6. If you equal or exceed their leadership, you get 1 command point. And there is a Warlord trait for Chaos. You can reroll 1, Deny the Witch, and every time your Warlord successfully casts a spell, roll a d6 on a 6, you get 1 command point. So the Primaris Psychers can generate command points with a special type of smite that also has a beat their leadership rider on 3d6.
So my first question is, does that supersede the only can regenerate 1 CP per round, or does that kind of work in tandem with and allow you to generate that and the 1 for your Warlord trait?
And I'd have to check the fact, because I'm not sure if the wording is different for like regaining versus like taking, because in this case it's like I am taking something. So that's interesting. And now that it's brought up in chat, I definitely remember the psychic power side of it. I heard that. I didn't hear about the Warlord trait one because I can't use it. But that's interesting to me. I'm not a huge fan of CP regen like stuff. I think
I've never done it. I don't deny Warlord. I don't deny psychic powers. I don't regenerate CP. I don't get to play with multiple codexes.
Yeah, but I just think for a lot of that stuff though, like command points are sort of this weird secondary resource in the game. But they're so valuable, and so the more things that generate them, and we've seen this already. Yeah. I mean, like the Rusty 17, the Loyal 32, people are taking, stuff just to get CP. So the ability to have things that are just getting you more CP is really powerful. I mean, off the top of my head, the Primaris one's okay. Like generally, I'm going to assume you're going to be shooting way different powers with your Psychers, but that Warlord trait, like especially knowing some of the other Warlord traits that are out there, getting a deny, and I'm not sure if it's a deny like you have to already have, but if it's you can just deny and then being able to get like CP off of that, that's really powerful.
Well, it's as I understand it, the command point isn't off of the deny. It's the trait does 2 things. It lets you re-roll 1 Deny the Witch, I assume over the course of the game, and then whenever you cast a spell, Warlord casts a spell, you got a 1 in 6 chance of getting a command point.
That's even better. Like that's just money, especially with a 2 spell caster.
Any additional ways to generate CP, and even 1 things you're already going to do anyway. Why the hell not?
Damn Master Possession. I really like that model too.
Damn it. Yep. Is it powerful? Absolutely. Is it game breaking? Arguably no, but I think there is some grounds to say yes. Especially like I made the comment, the rich get richer.
Yes.
Like especially with armies that have the ability to get a lot of command points already, and those command points, it's basically.
I mean, with Chaos, it's not as bad, but like Imperium
doesn't. It's just more for the Imperium. It's just they don't need it. They do not need it. Like, we got rid of formations and all that kind of stuff because you were getting free stuff, and now it seems like CP to some degree are replacing formations. And not in the entire sense, because that's definitely not where I'm going. We're in a way better place with CP. But at the same time, if you are able to constantly keep regenerating CP and then using them to do devastating things, it's like having extra units doing extra jobs on the table for free.
It's the fact that there's such an imbalance between factions for command points and what they can do that shocks me sometimes. Yeah, I play Tyranids.
Tell me about it.
It's interesting because, okay, so for those who haven't stared at me in my Fortress of Solitude in the last 5 minutes, I'm a die-hard Tyranids player. I love my Space Locusts. My second army was Tau for a while, but I found that personally I just wasn't enjoying gunline gameplay. That's not something that scratches my own particular itches.
And there's a lot of people in that boat with you.
Yeah, I want
for sure.
Gunline gameplay to me feels like point, roll dice, point, roll dice, point, roll dice. I want to be going through different decision trees. So because I'm a total sellout, my schedule here, my script here even calls me producer whore. I have picked up Adeptus Custodes. They look like they have interesting decision trees. They're 20 to 25 models in an army, which is a relief from 150 models of NIDS.
Just think about the backup time.
Yeah.
Right? So, but in terms of command points, I have a medium ability to get command points as Tyranids. I can fill up battalions easily enough. I can generally hit at least 10 or so. My ability to regenerate them is extremely limited because the Tyranid way to regenerate command points is to have a Gene Stealer or Lictor kill a character, and then you can spend a point on a stratagem and get D3 command points back.
Maybe you don't get anything.
Maybe you don't. Well, you get the one.
So minimum, you'll get
minimum.
But it costs
maybe
one.
You don't get anything extra.
You don't get anything extra.
So you're not ahead or behind.
And frankly, if an opponent is letting your Gene Stealers and Lictors close enough to kill Lictors, something is terribly wrong. That's so unlikely I've given up on it. But at least I can hit that, 10 to 12 if I really push it command points, which I need as Tyranids because every turn I'm doing Opportunistic Advance, Metabolic Overdrive, Overrun to get that positioning that Tyranids need, which is cool. Going to Adeptus Custodes, you have maybe 20 models in your army. I'm looking at maybe 8 command points, 3 for being matched play, 5 for having a battalion, and then whatever extra.
Sounds like you need 32 guardsmen.
Sounds like no, sir. I still have some pride.
17 Adeptus Mechanicus.
But the Adeptus Custodes method of regenerating command points outside of allying with the entire cornucopia of Imperial models is you run Trajan Valoris, 1 model, and once per game he has the ability to use his Moment Shackle. One of 3 things is which once you spend command points in a stratagem, roll a d3. You gain command points equal to that roll up to the value of the stratagem. So I'm having to consider shenanigans like placing my Warlord first, which bugs me, just so that I can do things that...
Good.
So, thank you. I appreciate that. That wasn't even deliberate. Bugs me. Just so that I can do things that spend 3 immediately afterwards to put 2 Telemon Heavy Dreadnoughts in Deep Strike using one of their other stratagems, and then have the chance to roll and maybe get that back, and that's all my command point regen for that game. The Custodian stratagems, too, are so good, but they're relatively expensive. The good ones are all 2 and 3, so I'm looking at this like, okay, here's the Custodian's gameplay in terms of command points and stratagems. I get 2 counter punches. I got a 1-2 punch, and I have to make them count over the course of the game, or I'm gone. Absolutely. I'm dead. I am fallen.
You cash in all your chips, and you are out of steam.
I picked up for Kill Team, which we'll get to our Kill Team League in a second. One of my future projects is building a Cult of the Bladed Cog, Gene Stealer called Kill Team, with a whole bunch of Skitarii Ranger bits, a whole bunch of Gene Stealer bits, and just having myself a time because they look like they will go incredibly well together. However, I'm looking at those 10 Rangers and those 2 Tech Priest Engine Seers and going, how many principles do I have right now? Why is it so easy to generate command points for some particular factions? You'd think it would just be... What would an event look like, do you guys think, if there were no regen, if everyone just started the game with a flat 10 command points?
a flat set of command points. I think
a flat 10, a flat 15.
Interesting.
Everyone starts the game with that, and that's it. You don't regen. The detachments don't play into that.
That's where I'd have the problem, because then you would see weird combinations of detachments, because you could essentially take whatever detachment you want, and that not having the CP influence could be real weird and wonky.
Here's the follow-up question: Is that bad?
I mean, it depends on a lot of things. It depends on like what kind of scenarios you're running and what those games look like, because you could do something like that, and then there's all sorts of really weird counters to that for armies that maybe have a ton of like command point necessity. For example, or armies that don't have a lot of command point necessity, I should say. My Nurgle would love that. I never spend CP. Like, I rarely spend it.
If I had them, I would be in a position to definitely be spending more.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on the other side where I'm so limited that I don't even have the opportunity to be like, I'm going to gamble this. Or like, I'm going to use one to re-roll this. Because, like, every one I use to re-roll is like, you know, my Destroyer squad doesn't get to re-roll its hits and wounds because I don't get...
and that's where I spend all my CP or re-rolls. Like, if I had...
I'd love to.
If I had 10 CP, I'd be like, sweet, 150 Plague Bears. That unit gets a 4+ this turn. Sweet. Oh, you're shooting another one. That one gets a 4+. But, like, that kind of stuff, I think it makes for a very interesting type of game. I think there is some intended balance. I just think custodes suffer from it.
15 is... I think 15, even 10, I think is too many. I think...
And it depends on the armies, too. Like,
it
radically depends on the armies.
I think there would be, you know, bigger bonuses for being battle forged.
Yeah.
And then the further you deviate, i.e. multiple keywords and stuff like that, you start losing versus gaining.
I really like the AOS system for their command points in their second edition. It's very simple.
It's simple. It makes sense. It works. It's not over the top in terms of how many CP.
Are you familiar with this?
I am not.
You essentially start with a flat number of command points. However, for every 50 points your army is under, you get an additional command point at the end of the game. So they are point costed to effectively 50 points. But there are still some ways that you can like generate new ones. But overall, it's a very basic, like, you know that you're going into a game that you're going to start with, 1, and you're going to generate 1 every turn, and that's it. You generate 1 every turn. So you can, like, do nothing in the first turn, next turn you have 2. Oh, did you, like, not spend 100 points? Cool. In that first turn, you don't do anything. Okay, now I'm maybe sitting on, like, 4 in the second turn, and you can kind of control that a bit better.
That way, but, like, you're not... Yeah.
You're not building your list necessarily around it, which is interesting, and I like that.
You're more looking at the tail end of your army building and be like, oh, I could spend 2 more points to put, a banner or a shield on this one guy, or I could put me at, 47 points left, or I could not do that and be at 51 points and use that 50 points and get myself an extra command point. And where does that put me? Is that better than that shield? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
And stuff like that's your trade-off versus if I get a battalion of bullshit cheap guys here and then couple them with a knight over here and then couple them with
here's some shield captains
something over here, and then it's like, and now I have 47 points. I can use, and get 1 back every turn. I can auto pass morale about 300 times before I worry about it. Obviously I'm being over-exaggerating here.
I think the solution at its simplest form is just limit the command points to the armies that generate them. There you go. So that the knights can't benefit from the loyal 32's command points that they bring in.
Keep them within their
and they did that. They did that with the Rogue Trader stuff that they released.
Which would also cater to the armies that are mono, because if you're battle forged
which is fine,
then everybody all your
which is
detachment benefit. Yeah,
absolutely fine, or at least have it like give it some restriction that is not just Imperium. And I think this is where we're starting to see some of the problems of like the 4 keywords that yeah, like some of them are not. Like Imperium just has so much, and the ability you can spread stuff around Imperium just makes that really tricky to balance.
That's right.
Yeah.
Reaction in the chat is definitely negative. We've got Rancid Platypus saying, no flat values, the troops are useless. Bizarre 40k Beast, who's going to be our guest from Kelowna at PAL, says, yeah, that would be bad. Build this to mitigate the CP dumpers at Alpha Strike. You're like, orcs, we can take a punch, give it right back.
Yeah.
The feel of the game would be.
I'll argue the troops thing though, because I would just be so enthralled with taking like 1 billion plague bearers
but
to that.
You're an exception.
No. But I am an outlier. But I absolutely would want troops because you know why? OBSEC.
Absolutely. But again, you're an outlier. Your troops are able to take a wallop. Mm-hmm. They can dish out some damage.
Yeah, but
they can. Not a lot,
no.
But they have volume of dice to do something, and they don't move. And yes, that being able to take that much of a punch in conjunction with the fact you can take so many, it's that they're honestly in an edition where weight of dice conquers all. You are the ultimate outlier.
I think there's a few. No. I think there's a few different armies that can do that style of like Guard. Guard is a great example. I would just and you don't see it as much anymore. But I'll just take 1 billion guardsmen and flood that table. Orcs, same thing. I'll take 1 billion boys and flood that table edge. Because one thing that people keep forgetting about this edition, and I notice this a lot, especially when people are looking at tables and whatnot, is it's based on numbers now. Like if I've got X more guys on an objective and we're both OBSEC, but I've got more, I'm scoring that objective. So I can sit there with players and take it. But if I've got guys who are just constantly streaming in 5-point guardsmen or 6 or whatever point orcs, OBSEC is so important this edition, and people just keep forgetting that.
But what would you rather have? Would you rather have a 20-man squad of boys, a 20-man squad of guardsmen, or a 20-man squad of plague bearers?
I mean, looking at it in a vacuum, I mean, they all present different things. Like those orcs, they run into my plague bearers and murder a bunch of them. And so, and just from volume of attacks. And they're getting, if they're either way, they're getting shooting attacks. Troops are king this edition in terms of objectives. And
no.
And well, I'm sorry there, Robot Boy.
I wouldn't either, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
Because the base assumption for Tyranid troops, you've got 4. You've got your Hormagaunts, you've got your Termagants, you've got your Gene Stealers, and you've got your Ripper Swords. Your Hormagaunts and your Gene Stealers, the base assumption is that you're using those to rush up, tag tanks, hit face, objectives.
Yeah.
Termagants, they're blobs, they move around. I haven't seen them maybe use them for objective control. Mm-hmm. Ripper Swords used for backfield objective control, but the problem is that all the troops I run are paper tigers. They will fold if you look at them wrong and exhale.
And some of that has to do with our current meta a lot, because you're seeing those going back to the Loyal 32. That Loyal 32 sure has a crap ton of mortars in it, and they will crap on anything you've got hiding in your backfield. Yes. So, yes, I understand that my troops in this meta are really good, but I run up against an orc player who's got 100 boys charging. Good game, sir. That's tough. And all those boys too, who are rushing in my face and killing me and whittling me down, they're OBSEC. So it's even my numbers are now we're 30-man units, but you're shaving off a lot more than I am.
Yeah.
So it's weird. I think troops are just really key this edition.
Yeah. Bizarre 40KB says, and you're also hard to kill in large numbers, and you can choose where and how you remove the casualties.
Oh yes.
Rancid tosses in. Thurston, I agree OBSEC is important, but troops are thematically worse than the other categories because they unlock more command points. That is how it is supposed to work. I
think that is the perception of how people think it works. I think that some armies' troops are built better than others by a wide margin. Absolutely. And I think a lot of people from previous editions have that stuck in their head that troops are meant to be this, you need them to fill out your army. They are not good. But there are some armies where troops are by and far. POW troops are amazing. Fire warriors are stunningly good.
Cheap, 30-inch range, so they outrange everything.
What was the list that like went stupid high at the LG London Grand Tournament? Last Chance Open in London was like 100 and something cultists with Abaddon, bodies and las guns. Like,
now were they fearless? Like,
because Abaddon.
So okay.
So
there was a little. Okay, so there's that to add to it.
But and even now, people haven't quite seen the brunt of it yet. But the humble Primaris Intercessor is gonna be ridiculous with Bolter Drill.
I agree.
Bolter Drill. I saw
John Plouffe because he took all my.
I saw Logan playing a game a couple weeks ago. He's playing some Tyranids, and the amount of firepower that OBSEC 3+ Civ Firebase is putting out.
2 wounds.
2 wounds. That's not something mortars are gonna shift. So.
You know what is a great way to find out the relative power of troops in different factions?
Ooh.
Kill Team!
Yeah.
Wonderful game. We've definitely been getting into it here at 40 Below Gaming, and our Kill Team League Echoes of Eternity started this past weekend. This is a league with all custom missions written by somebody who's handsome and wearing a white hat right now. Is really good looking. I'm a huge fan of the game, so I'm super excited to be able to put this together for 40 Below Gaming. Thurston, I'm going to ignore you again because you haven't played it yet, and you're disappointing me greatly. Fabio, you were there Friday. Hit me. What did you think?
It was great. I got to polish off some ribs and then watch. I guess I know. So you have a game against Ben. There was a couple other games going, and then I was able to jump in and get my game in. The mission was great. Simple enough that it didn't require a lot of now what do I do kind of thing. But it allowed, for some interesting interactions. The tables are good. Everything was fine in that regard. Kill Team's so simple with that, which is super nice. Actually, Infinity Terrain I'm still on the board. Infinity Terrain's the best.
It's real good for Kill Team.
Simple. It's simple. It blocks line of sight nicely.
Yep.
It's 2 to 3 levels. It's stackable. It gives that
solid can't
feel.
see through. Yeah.
But honestly, it was super. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. But yeah, it was really fun. I was excited to get out and play. Obviously I keep looking at my base and my models, and they have no paint or nothing on them yet. So now that I've gotten to, I've always wanted to play more or paint more when I play. So I haven't been able to do that a lot lately. So on Friday I was able to do that, which made me really wanting to work on my bases to figure out how I'm gonna finish these guys off. That was good. A lot of people asking questions. I was able to build a list for some little kid. He was really curious about playing, so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll build you a list, whatever.
I had a game against him after that.
Oh, did you?
Quite well, yeah.
Yeah, I believe he was there the previous week as well. So new people. That's awesome.
So again, new faces. A lot of people were asking questions. A lot of people were getting their scores, and my phone was going nuts because they were coming to the page, so people were actually following directions, which was nice to see.
Yes.
Overall, it was. I would say it was a great success. I mean, for those who are wondering why the mission wasn't available online right away, it's because it was the opening night. So we figured give people a reason to get down to game night to get their package, because the first mission was in there, and then we obviously released it Monday morning on the website. So now it is up, but we still recommend get your packages that are sitting with your names on them at game night.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And even if you haven't registered yet, registration is going to remain open for the duration of the league. We're doing something different with this league. If you participate in all 4 months, you play all 4 missions, we will punch a special card that comes in your player kit. And you'll qualify for some for some special dice and objectives. However, you can totally free to sign up until the league is capped. We're sitting at 24
now.
Nice. 24. So about 6 more spots open of 30. And even if you don't participate in the first month, you can still sign up starting in month 2, starting with that month's mission, and you still might have a chance at getting best in faction for your kill team. You still might have a chance at scoring some sweet rewards.
Yeah, gift cards, everything's still on the table other than the things that would require you to play and participate in all 4 months.
Yeah, and even then, you've got until April 14th to get your month 1 score in.
You got a lot of time. So even if you get in, like, if you manage to be down the last Friday before the rollover to the second month and you pay, you get in, you play your game that night and submit it,
there you go.
You're in. Like, it's that simple. It's one game. It's an hour, which is another great thing about Kill Team. But
how have you been finding Kill Team in general?
I've been adoring it because I've been down with surprise my Death Guard and my Gellerpox, which is slightly different. But I've been really enjoying it, getting kind of the rules in my head. I tried AdMech against you 2 weeks ago just to see how they played. I've been trying to branch out and see what I want, but really the question I'm kind of at right now is what I want to play for this league.
Yes.
Because I'm in a position now where I'm like, I could do my Death Guard and paint up some models really nice for it, but I'm almost it kind of defeats the purpose of Kill Team, where it's like, why don't I just play some new army? Mm-hmm. And so I've really been debating.
Do you have a few factions that you're kind of on the fence about, or are you just literally in limbo being
I'm kind of wide-eyed staring out at everything right now.
So you don't have anything in particular?
I mean, I've got my Gellerpox and my Death Guard, but it's sort of
No, but I mean
I've got nothing that's jumping out. I mean, I've looked around to everything, so I'm kind of open.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
What about Grots?
I mean, Orcs is one. I mean, Orcs is one of those ones, though, that I might veer away from. That one is not quite calling to me, but there's some other ones out there that, all the various Eldar, Thousand Suns are gorgeous. I know, stepping on your toes there. There's just, a lot of different models out there. Grey Knights, for Lord's sake. Wow.
One of 3 factions in Core Kill Team that has access to psychic powers.
Yeah.
And they become a lot more specials.
Are huge.
Yeah.
I was playing your pops. I was zapping them every turn.
Yeah.
It's a mortal wound on a 7, a 5. No,
5, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, 5 up. I was okay.
I don't know. I'm pondering.
It's crazy.
That's fair. This is a great point to note that over the course of the league, you register your faction with us when you send in your scores to the 40 Below Gaming page on Facebook. Just say I, producer Josh, played Fabio. I have my Tyranids, he had Thousand Suns. This was the score. I killed this many models, he killed that many models. Send us your faction with your scores.
Also where you play it.
Also where you played, because that is relevant for the raffle entries you will earn.
Yeah,
and
break that down a little bit.
Yeah, so to finish what I was saying, you do have the opportunity to switch your team once over the course of this Kill Team League. That is something that we're allowing. Again, because this is in the spirit of getting people introduced to Kill Team, participating, low barrier to entry. I don't want people to get stuck with a faction that they don't like and have to play it for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, fair enough.
Now, where you play is important because you earn raffle entries for a game night gift certificate equal to half the entry fees in the league, which is currently up to $130.
Yeah, it's close to 130. So basically, at 30 players at $10 a person, that's $300. 50% of that goes to a single gift card that gets raffled off amongst everybody, which would be $150. So we're almost capped.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically how that works. But
get your entries in now. You will earn 1 raffle entry for playing your league game each month. You will earn another raffle entry for playing that game at game night. You will earn 2 raffle entries if you help a player get a league game in, especially if it's somebody who hasn't played their league game yet this month. We are doing this to help encourage people to just keep hanging out, staying at game night, getting people who can only make it once a month to get their league game in. And if that extra game is at game night, that is a 3rd raffle entry for that game at game night. So there's tons of ways to earn raffle entries for this gift card.
So yeah, just to piggyback on that.
Yeah.
It's not saying that you guys can't play wherever is more convenient for you. If you and a buddies are on the south end of the city and be like, hey, you guys, do you want to get together at my place and have a game? That's totally fine. It's just game nights are sponsored, so we want to try and tie it back to their venue. But if that doesn't work for you that month or that week or whatever it is, that's totally fine too. Heck, go play Games Workshop if that works for you. But you miss out on the extra raffles, which is if you're okay with that, then that's cool too.
That's the reason we haven't tied like mechanical benefits to playing at game night. You're not going to get extra victory points for playing at game night.
Yeah.
Just raffle entries. Sweet.
Yeah.
And one more thing I wanted to take a bit of a soapbox. We really need to get one here real quick. Playing in the first league night this past Friday, I got feedback from a few players that the victory point system for when you break is needs a little bit of work, because the way the first league mission is written, and this isn't changing in order to be fair to everybody, if a kill team becomes broken, they score 0 victory points and the other kill team scores 4. However, if you have already scored 6, 7, 8 victory points and you win by breaking, all of a sudden you get 4 instead of that. Doesn't feel super great.
I was going to ask you about that. And the way, honestly, I would have thought it would have been... So I think it's hard to break a team for the most part. So I would have thought it was just tack 4 to your score.
Breaking a team is very luck-driven.
Yeah, so wherever you are in the game, if you've killed 2 specialists at a point apiece or whatever, 2 points apiece, you're at 4, you break them after that, you're up to 8. And they don't get 0. If they killed 1 special, they're at 2. If they killed none, then they are at 0. I thought that's kind of how it was, but after seeing a couple of the scores come in and that's what they said, I was going to ask you about that, but whatever. That's the way it was written. It was call an oversight, maybe whatever.
A learning experience.
Josh and I both read them over a few times, and we didn't pick it up.
Yeah.
It happened.
No. So thank you for giving us the feedback. We really appreciate it. We care. We're making adjustments to future missions. Bonus 4 VP 4 break is, I think, written into one of the 3 remaining missions in Echoes of Eternity. There's other systems in play for the other missions, which I won't talk about until they go live, because I have to keep some surprises for you. Right? Okay. So that's everything I had on the script. Did I miss anything that we wanted to talk about tonight?
I think
Bunker Busters.
Yep.
We did talk about them, but April 13th is obviously already completely sold out. Guys, there's only 14 spots. We can't open them up anymore. Game night only allows us so much space. The next one is May 11th. It is also 40K, and that is leading up to Planes of War, June 1st. So April 13th is going to be ITC missions 1, 2, 3, and then May 11th is going to be missions 4, 5, 6. Then June, it's Age of Sigmar. We're not going to do 2,000 points. We've been talking with a few guys, and I think we're going to either drop it to like 1,000 points with a sideboard or something. Like, we're going to change it up a bit, try and get a little more friendly to intro, like maybe 500 points flat and a 500 point sideboard, so you can have, you can swap stuff in and out or whatever. We're going to change it. We want to reduce the point cost. We want to get quicker games, maybe more games in a day. Just make it a little more inviting for maybe people that are a little newer. Because obviously the Age of Sigmar crowd, it's no surprise that it is smaller and still kind of building. It's not at the same level as the 40K one, so that's kind of, we want to take a step back. We want to try and do that. And then with the 40K stuff, now that after Planes of War is done, the ITC kind of half of the season, call it, is over. And we're going into like the Below Expo and Twin Eagles, which are more doubles, which is more really, it's still tactical, but more chill, I would say. Chill, I don't know.
Yeah.
So we're going to switch up the formats within the Bunker Busters, so be ready for that. We have a Discord. 40 Below has a Discord. It has all the specialist games. If there's like Star Wars and stuff that isn't in Games Workshop, if there's something you would like to see on there, you have a group of people that want to see, like Warma Hordes, whatever, let us know. We'll create it. It's costs us nothing to do it. But anyway, the Discord's always up. There's posts about it on the Facebook page, so check that out. So that's those. Boom, boom. We'll go through our sponsors. Yeah, that's it. Boom. We've
already talked about game night games and cool stuff. We've already talked about Seventh Forward Studios.
Yeah.
We got the rest of our sponsors. Thurston, read off the left column.
The left column. All right. So we have Frontline Gaming. Those lovely people who bring us the ITC. We have Northern Lights Terrain. That is Byron and his amazing terrain. We were talking about Infinity stuff earlier. If you want some really nice buildings, check him out. If you need movement bases and you're someone like me, like who has a bunch of Nurgle demons, you want some movement bases from him. Manitoba Model Soldier Society and the Holiday Inn Airport at the Polo Park.
So I should jump in there.
Yeah.
With Byron, he's a local guy, so all you local guys, if you're looking for stuff and maybe he doesn't carry exactly what you're looking for, hit him up because he's creative designing stuff, so he might be able to help you out and get you what you need, and it's great prices, and he's super fair, and it's to support a local guy just doing some stuff that he just loves hobbying. Like he's not he's not a GW fanboy, but he just loves hobbying in general and tabletop games. So he's seen a lot of stuff, and he'll be able to help you out. Mm-hmm. Model Soldier Society, they're actually going to be for Plains of War and Twin Eagles. They're going to be doing our paint job.
Nice.
So we're working with them to kind of restructure our painting, and they will be our third party judges, which is
excellent.
Them, which is really cool. They've produced some great stuff. They've done other stuff in the city, and they know what to look for. They have the keen eyes, so we figured
it's great.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then Holiday Inn. That's where Plains of War is gonna be.
Ta-da!
All right. You finished off the left-hand column, so I'm going to rattle off the right, and then we're going to wrap the show. We got Battle Foam, we got Best Coast Pairings, we got CM Engrave, we got I Want That Stuff, a lovely board gaming store out in Brandon. We've got AYBOnline.com, who's one of our technical sponsors for this year, lending us stuff like this and that stuff that you can't see on the camera. Thank you, guys. Hit me.
On call.
Come on, on call.
I'm missing. I was like, no.
Just this. Thank you.
Not on call GM, though.
No. Nice plug. Well done.
I know.
All right. That's it for episode 1, season 6 of the Dusty Auspex podcast. Thank you for joining us. This is Fabio. This is Thurston. I'm producer Josh. If you're not rolling ones, you're cheating. I'm going to click the button.